One of the greatest misunderstandings that I have confronted people with in recent years, and it's understandable because ignorance is basically the oil which drives human behavior. Enlightenment is not something that people, ordinary people, wish to partake in, because enlightenment is similar to the Tower card in the tarot, in that you must destroy everything in order to accept new beliefs and new ideas, and people are naturally cowards, particularly in Western society, and they're not willing to discard assumptions or predetermined notions or anything that's been culturally imposed upon them. This is the true waking up process, not the superficial one of discovering that the world is run by crazy people. One of the reasons I've shocked people in recent years is because I've openly announced that my god of choice, my deity of veneration, is Lucifer. Now, the first thing people think of is I'm a devil worshipper. Again, this cultural zeitgeist, ignorance, whatever you want to call it, and that's exactly what we're dealing with here. Lucifer is not the devil. Not the devil of the Hebrew Bible. I've had people actually say this to me, and they say things like, oh, now you're worshipping Semitic archetypes. And this is the level of ignorance we're dealing with here. Lucifer is not from the Middle East. Lucifer is an Indo-European archetype and a European classical pagan god. This quite literally leaves people flabbergasted when they hear this, when they hear that Lucifer is actually a European pagan deity that has nothing to do with the Bible. And this again is the catastrophe of Christianity, making ignorance the oil that greases spirituality in the West in the post-classical era. Let's talk about why people think Lucifer is the devil. Well, first of all, the devil doesn't exist. That was a concept invented about 1,000 years ago. It's just basically a French term meaning of evil. And so there's no entity as a devil. Crowley was perfectly correct that if the devil actually existed, it would probably be a god. The devil, in ultimate terms, in the spiritual terms, is an archetypal force representing vengeance, addictions, and so on, rage, as it's portrayed in the tarot very correctly. Satan is, as many people know these days, is basically a translation of a word meaning adversary or the opposer, and that's used in both Arabic and other Semitic languages to denote someone who opposes the Abrahamic religion. That doesn't necessarily mean it's an entity or a being or a deity. Up until 100 years ago, someone who was called satanic just meant someone who didn't believe in the church. That's what the term satanic actually meant. Now this brings us to Lucifer. Why do people think that Lucifer is the devil of the Bible? It's really down to a mistranslation in the King James Bible. Protestants, ever desperate to be the greatest Hebrews that ever lived, who out-Hebrew the Hebrews, when they were constructing their King James Bible, mistranslated a term regarding an enemy of God as being Lucifer. This has been widely acknowledged now by both rabbinical and Christian scholars that this was a mistake in the King James Bible, which led to people in this day and age thinking that Lucifer is the opposing force of the Jehovah entity in the Bible, Yahweh entity in the Bible. He's not. Who is Lucifer then? Lucifer is a classical Greek and Roman god. Lucifer is the son of Aurora and the brother of Diana, the goddess of the hunt. He's represented by the planet Venus, the bringer of the day and the night, and this is why they have association with Aurora and also with Diana. And the planet Venus, of course, is the brightest shining object in the sky. Therefore, Lucifer's association with blinding light, brightness. Remember, in a light pollution time, Venus would have been spectacular in the night sky, far more to a degree than it is now. So its low altitude above the horizon within all European regions would have been much brighter back then, so the bright shining one. It represents the new way of thinking, the new way of seeing, both on the dark and the light side. That's why in the tarot it's connected to the star card. That's what Venus is. That's what Lucifer is. Lucifer represents hope. Hope of a new beginning, of new ideas and new thinking. A banishment of the darkness, a banishment of the ignorance. Venus rises in the sky just before the dawn comes and remains there, almost like a guardian. It's also represented to a degree by the lightning bolt hitting the tower card. Again, out with the old, in with the new. A cleansing, a destructive and blinding flash. And this also ties into the origins and the terminology of the name Lucifer. The etymology is very close to the Indo-European root of luce, which means a flash of brilliance, a flash of light. Luce also gives us Loki, who's the lightning that Thor chases. That's why Loki is a trickster. He's blinding us with new ideas and new ways of thinking. And also, of course, Lu, who's the very common Celtic European god. So there you have it. Anyone who says to you from now on that Lucifer is the devil in the Bible and people who are Luciferians are adversaries of Jehovah, well, in my case I am an adversary of Jehovah. My Luciferianism is not rooted in the Hebrew text because that doesn't exist. I'm purely an Indo-European pagan, and therefore to me Lucifer represents, on a personal level, a very, very powerful and beautiful force in my life, and could be in yours if you would allow it to happen to you also. Allow the ignorance to burn away. This is also why we have another name for Lucifer. It is also Phosphorus. So become phosphorescent and less ignorant. Lucifer is not the devil of the Bible.